For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
A woman in league round that corresponds with Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day all. Hope the mothers out there have been rightfully spoiled. The Sharks have certainly done their part to reward the hard-working mothers out there. Well, the Sharky-loving ones anyway. Welcome to the ET Stand, the Sharks fans podcast where we let our talking do the football. We're in all the usual places, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you guys want us to be. If we aren't there, let us know, and we'll try and get there. While listening, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps with everything we do. Here's also a Discord channel where fans can chat about Sharkies 24/7 and any other topic that takes your fancy. The link is in the chat, and we'll pop it in the description below. Joining me on the debrief is the knower of all things football, especially of the rugby league variety, CK. How's your Mother's Day been, champ?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Franco. Pretty good day. We had a new Aussie champ in the UFC, so I got to watch that and a bit of a storm against the West Tigers into our victory. So pretty good. How'd you go yourself, mate? Busy day?
Mate, bit of a quiet one for me. I got to do a little bit of housework myself, so I'm out there planting plants and digging holes. Just a little quiet brunch for the family, which was nice and welcomed by all. I think it sort of starts to get a bit hectic for everyone, and I think there's a lot of mothers these days that just want to relax and be quiet. So we took that path, and it seemed to be welcomed by all.
Nice.
Also with us is you guys, the listeners. Thanks very much for joining us, and once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And even though I know she won't be listening, I'll throw in a happy Mother's Day to my own lovely mum, just for the karma points. Come on, CK, get yours in there quick.
Oh, I'm sure my mum's watching, so happy Mother's Day, Mum.
Oh, gosh, your mum supports you better than mine. Can we say that? Do I just lose all my karma points by doing such a thing?
We know she loves you, mate.
Yes, thank you. Cecil, he comes in, he says, happy Mother's Day all, Sharkies. Williams 2.0 says, geez, that'll hurt. A few that Nico once again killed it. And that's all. There's only a couple of comments there because we started early. I would have liked to have waited a little bit before jumping in, as I'm sure you are on the same page as me, CK, but we're still not sorting it out. Boldo's trying to work out if he push it forward or back. We'll find out if pushing it forward is the right call. All right. Why don't we just quickly go through the rundown of what happened in this game, and then we'll start talking about all the hot button topics and everything that was thrown at us during the match. In the 11th minute, off a quick play of the ball, Brayley finds Nickera coming back on the inside. He slices right through the middle and is tackled about 20 out from the try line. We get another quick play of the ball, and Nico goes straight to the boot, chipping it over the defensive line, and Ronaldo streaming through on his inside shoulder is first to the ball and grounds it right on the try line. This was really good here. We were just punching through the middle. Manly was kind of all over the place, and it was good to see us take advantage of that. Nice little game awareness there from Nico as well to kick through when he did instead of trying to throw it out wide. Dare I say, could it have been a set play? I don't know. Was Ronaldo inside? We know he's certainly the type of player to call for a kick. Maybe he called it. I don't know. In the 17th minute, after we regain the ball from a Nickera intercept, yes, the man can do everything. He nabs the Manly offload. We work our way down the field with a couple of quick plays. We almost go close with Ramian, who loses the ball, but fortunately the ref was playing advantage, so we get the ball back. We chose not to take the two, and after the settler, a simple right to left through Brayley, Hines, and AFB sees AFB stroll over untouched to plant the ball just left of the posts. The only bit of razzle-dazzle, I'm not even sure you can call it razzle-dazzle, in that was a decoy run from Hazleton. Manly were looking battered and bruised here. In the 34th minute, Sharks get another opportunity to take the two, and we choose to do so. Now, we might talk about this a little bit later. As I mentioned just a moment ago, Manly were pretty battered here. They were off their feet, and I'm not sure if 2 was the right call, but we go in at the halftime, 14 points to 0, which, for those that watch more games than one in a weekend, this was an ominous score for the weekend. A few teams had been run down with that scoreline, so watch this space. In the 46th minute, Sharkies attacking within Manly's 20. Trindle drops the ball with Manly's Olakau'atu regathering. He runs downfield. Sharkies holding off tackling him, waiting for the pass. He kicks it though, and Garrick is able to grab it, and he sends it back into Saab, who then heads towards the posts and has support from Cronulla, who scores under the posts. In addition to this, Trindle gets HIA'd in attempting to stop the try. His head collapses with the ground as he dives to make a tackle. It's all sorts, it's all awful, and it's just an absolute mess. In the 61st minute, after Kennedy dropping a bomb, was he tackled in the air? Was it a disruptor? I've got no idea. We didn't get a replay of it, so I'll have to go back and try and rewatch that one to find out. But as it stands, play on. The Sharks are deemed to be offside in the next play, and Manly, sorry, I've missed a bit here. So off the back of that try, Manly are full of vigour, full of running, and we've gone from basically not missing any tackles to falling off blokes all over the shop. Manly now playing on top and charging strong and hard. Manly send the ball through the hands, which ends up in Cooler's hands, who changes direction and bursts through a bunch of poor cover tackles. This has basically just been the game on the other foot. We were all over them. Now we're not. They were just all over us. We were dropping off tackles. We weren't looking committed. It was a bit of an ugly scenario. And Cooler goes in for his second. Then in the 61st minute, as I said, Kennedy dropping the ball. We're deemed offside in the next play after that one, and Manly take the 2, which square up the ledger. So 14 all, as I mentioned, that 14-point deficit has been rubbed out. Certainly an ominous sign based on the other games this weekend. However, CK, should we have worried? I don't know. In the 73rd minute, in what can only be described as the Sharkies setting up for a field goal, it doesn't go our way with Manly rushing up on Nico, so he passes it out to Burns, who, engaging the line, grubbers through it at a great angle. Mulatalo rushing through is able to gather it untouched and improve the position between the posts. He gives the Manly crowd a shush and a finger and a wave goodbye. It was awesome. Then we've also got, oh, look, I've skipped again. I'm just too eager on this one. In the 65th minute, from 15 minutes out, Hines grubbers through. Villain of the night, Ruben Garrick collects the ball and in an attempt to getting out of the in goal is ragdolled by Burns. In the process, Garrick drops the ball with Trindle, right place, right time, jumps on the ball to ground it between the posts. Burns certainly lets Garrick know how he felt. That was just absolutely awesome because Garrick has been in our face all night, and I just love to see Burns give it to him back a little bit. And Burns was just on a streak. And then in the 76th minute, in the last tackle, Nico drops a short ball off to AFB. Not quite sure if he was supposed to die with the ball 5 out from Manly's line, the way the Sharks are wanted to do these days. However, instead, he pops the offload back to Nico, who belts it out of, bats it back out to Burns, who then also bats it off to Iro. Manly's rushing defence is now in all sorts, and Iro is able to dart for the corner and score. Burns now has a technical hat-trick of try assists. The Sharkies winning the game 30 points to 14. Nico kicking 5 from 6. You little ripper boys. Sorry about that for everyone. I was a little bit all over the shop in that debrief. But here we go. We got it. The files are done. What a crazy end to a great game. CK, how was you feeling through that one? Was there a roller coaster of emotions?
Standard Sharks game, standard roller coaster of emotions. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it, but yeah, it's always a roller coaster. I'd rather have that 30 to 14, wrapped up, the game done. I'm waiting for our outburst. Like I said, the Storm had one today against the Tigers where they put on 64 unanswered points, and I'm not asking for a 64 yet, like we sort of did the old throwback game against Manly, but I'm asking for just a comfortable Sharks can sit back and relax sort of win. But yeah, a roller coaster as usual.
Yeah, 12-0. I thought we were going to get that game, actually. We were all over Manly.
Oh.
And I guess no time like the present. The decision to take the 2. Now, as I mentioned, Manly were flawed. They were falling off tackles. They were struggling to keep up with the pace of the game. Whether or not we score off the 2, that's always, we'll name drop him here, that's always Boldo's argument as to why you shouldn't take the 2, is because the odds of scoring a try are something like 60% or 30%. There's 2 wildly different percentages that I've just thrown out there. Hey, it's Boldo's argument, not mine. And you should take the 2 because they're generally pretty much confirmed 2 points. In this scenario, like I said, even if we don't get those 2, don't score a try, at least we keep tiring out Manly. At least we keep hammering them home and buggering them. I reckon what we did see it, the penalty before, we got the penalty, instead of taking the 2, we scored a try. There's every opportunity we score again. Yeah, sure, drop balls and all that, but gosh, I reckon that's something we should have attempted to do.
Yeah, look, I'm normally with you on this, but I think at 12-0, taking it to 14 is a smart one. It was a great bait by Nico against Burbo to get him to keep pushing and shoving, and he said, all right, let's go. Burbo moves forward as the marker, shoves Nico more, and Nico's like, we're just going to take a penalty, mate. Like, you're an idiot. So it was a cheap 2 points. It was good. I kind of wish, controversially, I kind of called for the 2 again to make it 16-0 when we got another penalty. I kind of wish we did that. I'm not sure if that was the Trindle drop on that, which sort of led to the swing of momentum, but I would have taken a 16-0 sort of burst because, yeah, we were on top of them for the first, I'll say 50 minutes. We were all over Manly. And I get your point on that. But again, we know it's a fortress, even though, and Vossi brought it up, and I was on Fox for my viewing pleasure, brought up how bad our record was over the history. But then, we've won the last, I think, 4 out of 5 at Brookvale. So any points are sort of golden at this stage. So, and again, we've touched on it. We're traveling out of a suitcase, Manly on the back of a bye. It's take points when we can get it. So, yeah, I was fine with it.
Fair enough. At 14 all, though, I was certainly on the fence. I was on the fence. But yeah, it was good. A couple more comments have come through. We've got here from Stuart Campbell. Billy Burns played his best game so far. Glad we finally won a close game. Which, yeah, it was close until the end there, wasn't the scoreline really doesn't reflect how close that game ended up being, even though I kind of feel Manly played like tripe. They were terrible. And then 2.0, he's asking for a link to have a chat. He's extremely happy. We'll pop that link up in just a moment, mate. No worries. Happy for people to dial in and have a chat. And then this is an interesting one. Sess says that Tricky's return stopped the rot. Now, I've got the idea here. I don't want to bag Atkinson any more than already happens.
I came in ready.
However, this was the perfect example of why Atkinson is on the bench. Really, there couldn't be a much better scenario of a half going down. He slots straight into the halves. Trindle goes off for HIA. Now, I am going to want to go back and re-watch it just to see how much time we were in possession versus in defence. But Atkinson, we were all over the place. Our system seemed to have fallen apart. Our defence was terrible during that period. And the only difference really was Trindle was not on the field. Yes, we can point to the fact that we didn't have our starting props on anymore. FB was off the field. Hazleton was off the field. So, but those guys have been on the field with the rest of the group and defended pretty well in previous matches. The main difference there was Atco on the field. Don't want to point the finger directly at him, but as Seth just mentioned, when Trindle came back, the defense got shored up. We were straight again. I don't want to bury the lead because yes, there were a couple of other bench changes at that same time. So it's not a perfect argument, and I do not want to just have a go at Atkinson all the time, but I can see you're keen to have a go, CK, so let us know what you're thinking.
The same old, same old. Look, I'll rifle into the main part. I thought we had a flat point again between the 50th and 65th minute. I don't know what happened because the first set that we had the ball from the start of the second half, and it was mentioned in commentary, we made 60 to 70 metres off our own line, like from a kickoff. Like we were absolutely rolling. Obviously, Fanua Blake didn't start the second half. But yeah, we lost Trindle and Atkinson came on the field, but I'm not sure. I'll have to get with you. I think he was already on the field at that stage. And he went back into that normal role where he's just sort of playing out in the second row, sort of making hits, making defensive decisions. He wasn't playing a standard 5'8" role. And if you go and watch the pinpoint of where he shouldn't be out there, it's when Fanua Blake came on the field and they skipped Fanua Blake and Atkinson had to dive for the ball and got nowhere. They then shifted. He then got the ball again and just gave a lazy inside pass to somebody and it went nowhere. And I was like, what is this? We're losing momentum going sideways with a guy who's supposed to be replacing our number 6. Like he's just not offering any go forward. He's not offering any defensively. He's not making the decisions change for the opposition. It's just a bizarre interchange that I just don't understand. Like, whereas I know we lost Hazelton before the half as well to a shoulder injury. So fingers crossed it's not too bad, but it was just a situation where we needed to go forward a bit more, and we've got a utility out there who's not slotting into a 6. He's just out there playing a utility role. Whereas you saw Captain Cam all game, every time he got the ball, I'll give you 10 to 15 metres, if not a really hard 5 to 7 metres. Atkinson's not providing that, and he's not providing decent ball to guys out wide. So I think that game was a perfect example where we're really letting ourselves down in those little periods, and it seems to coincide with him coming on the field where we hit this flat spot. We've talked about it before where we've had, even against Parramatta, we had a guy in the sin bin. And that's when Para scored those tries. And that's when Atkinson came on. Like, yeah, we're down a man, but we scored a try before that. And it just seems every game we had this little flat period for about 15 minutes where we absolutely let Manly off the hook. Like you said, they were playing like tripe. They were horrible. They offered nothing in attack all game except for that 15-minute period where it coincides, whether it's coincident or not, or it's just one of those tactical things that coincide with Atkinson's stint. And it was just, we were absolutely on the back foot. It was bizarre. So end it, please. I'm watching everyone in comments saying end it. All fans are saying end it. It's just our team won't end it. Go back to the 4-forward rotation. So hopefully Talakai passes fit for next week because Dan's not going to be needed against the Storm next week.
To make matters worse, Hazelton went down with an AC joint injury in his shoulder. So they tried not to use him in the second half, which meant we were down a forward. And Atkinson obviously wasn't in a position to replace Hazelton's effort. So, yeah, I think if we had 4 forwards on the bench, there's a question mark about what would have happened when Tricky goes off. I think we've seen in the past that we can handle that with one half and Brayley and McInnes sort of juggling that second half ball playing role. And then we've got, no problems there handling that. And now we've got 4 forwards. Someone there can just step up and take Hazelton's minutes, and we don't miss a beat. So I think,
and the way Nico was playing he was unbelievable today. Like
out of his skin, wasn't he?
Spoiler, I'm giving him 3 points, but like it doesn't require. We lost Trindle for 15 minutes. Like it's not. We need to come and catch points. We would need to manage that game while he was off at that stage, and we did absolutely poorly without him to manage it defensively. Like it was just an absolute lapse. So, yeah. And you throw into my absolute frustration of I need Ramian to realise how fast Stone Street is because he could have found him quite a few times. It's just the same it's the same mistakes. I was watching that part where we're starting to fall apart. I'm like, it's missing tackles. It's no communication. It's Atkinson out there playing a confusing role and Ramian not finding Stone Street. It's just these little tweaks that but when we're on, all of a sudden we're rolling forwards are going forward. AFB's providing a platform. Nico looks sparkling, and then it just all of a sudden I don't know. We just switch off for a 15-minute period. It's weird.
Yeah, I got to agree there. I don't think there's going to be many fans upset if Atco isn't named next week, but I guess watch this space. A few comments come through here. Rob comes through. He says, "Happy Mother's Day. So minimal input today. Hines ran early and often. He sure did. That AFB try was directly due to Hines running prior, and that drew Olukwatu in. Hines 3, Brayley 2, Burns 1. Geez, everyone's getting in with their 3-2-1s early this game. Rob then also says, Talakai back, Atco waves from the sheds. Yeah, hopefully. Glenn here says our defence in the first half was solid as we went away from it the majority of the second, but at least we took care of business in the end there, up. Ryan James says, I reckon this team will ever know how to set up and kick a field goal. Yeah, I mean, no. Look,
No.
we have seen them do it, but it's just a thing between, when the pressure's on, we seem to just not think about what to do there in that scenario. Adam Field says here, DCE's defense was bad tonight. To be fair, Manly defense in general was pretty bad. They missed a whole heap of tackles, nearly 30 tackles. It wasn't good, which is why I think, apart from that flat spot, we were all over them in this match.
We were in single digits before that flat spot of missed tackles, and it skyrocketed in that flat period. It was bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Matty Williams says Big Tommy H was great prior to the injury. You know what? He struggled through the injury, but he was also pretty good before they took him off as well, even with the injury, I thought. Glenn then says Kale Iro just tightens up his edge. Hopefully no more injuries from him. Yeah, look, his defense was out of sight tonight. Last season, everyone was sort of questioning if he was ready for first grade because of his defense. I don't think anyone really questioned it through the last season, but this season he's been rock solid in defense. I don't think anyone can question that. He's a strong defender, almost a better defender than he is in attack, I would say. Rob here also says Hines missed 2 for 2 tries when defending wide instead of in the middle spot we normally find him this year. Ooh, is that... I don't know about that. One was a long range try where everyone missed everyone, and then
it was a bizarre try.
Absolutely
try.
bizarre.
Look, we're going to put it. I don't know, Olukwatu. If that was my team, and Olukwatu is grubbering for Saab, off a pickup 30 meters from your O line, and then Saab misses a kick, and somehow Garrick picks it up, and then somehow Saab's back in position and get it again. Yeah, I think a lot of people stuffed up that one, so I can't. But I know what he's talking about. The second Kohler one was he stepped through a lot of people, and Hines was part of that. But I think Kafusi was as well, and then Kenny didn't even get a strike on him. So I got it.
Yeah. So, but that said, I thought both Hines and Trindle had a couple of try-saving tackles in that match as well. So can't win them all, and you're a one-on-one playmaker, big bodies running at you, but I think our playmakers do pretty well in defense. Stuart says Tommy did an AC joint. Think we will play Atco, Sifa, Jesse, and BHU. Atco did his job today. It wasn't on him. What happened? CK, I'll let you take that while I stand up and show everyone my He-Man pajama pants and turn on my light.
No, I want to watch the show. No, I believe it's just, again, it's the Atco in the weird spot. It's confusing for us because he's not playing a quick out of dummy half to give our 9, which most teams use their utility to come on and give their 9, sort of like the Tigers, Raiders, Dragons do with Little. Most sort of teams do. Even the Storm do it with Garlic coming on off the bench, or which is the young fella that plays out for. The old man that used to play for the Steelers.
Rod.
Yeah,
Rod Wishart.
Rod Wishart. Yeah, usually comes on for a replacement. So most teams carry a utility on their bench, and they sort of come out and play that 9 role. Ours is just he's out there just in the middle of the field, if not to the edge. So there was, like I said, it was confusing, and it sort of put us on the back foot, not defensively as much, more on the factor of in the attack, when we needed him to step up and play that 6 role. We've all seen it. We saw the heroics last season when he was playing in those teams and starting as a half, and that's why the Dragons have signed him on as a half. But, geez, I don't know if they're looking forward to it now. But, he's not providing that sort of the downfield kicks. He's not providing as a running option. It's just a bit of a he's playing as a smaller Talakai role, and it's weird. So yeah, it's time to move on for an experiment for us.
Yeah, I don't think, to Stuart's point, I don't think it's a case where he
He's
didn't
bad.
do
He's
his
not
job.
bad. It's just the strange interchange.
Yeah, I think it's just, as we mentioned, the team is lacking a little bit when he comes on. And, unless the perfect scenario occurs that fits the reason for having him on the bench, which, to be fair, we don't exactly know the reason why he's on the bench. I believe that we can cover all of our positions pretty well with the squad we've got, with the team we've got. So he's not needed for that. And we may as well have someone that can provide a bit of extra oomph or direction when they come on. So I think
Yeah, we've
that's one
talked
of
about
those.
it. That's where our strength lies, is rolling through the middle. Our strength is rolling through that middle. If you've got Talakai come off the bench fresh, ready to play 20 to 25 minutes and rolling straight through the centre, teams are like, oh my God. But it's not Atkinson, who's 5 foot tall and all of 90 kilos. Like, the defensive line's set. They're more worried about the footwork, but he's not providing that. It's not like he's making line breaks. And I'm not saying he's bad defensively. He's not. He's fine out there. But it's just not providing something off the bench is what we need.
Absolutely. Sonia says, I'm guessing most Shark supporters are contenders for blood pressure meds. Ramian needs to trust Stone Street. Nico needs to trust himself from the sideline again with field goals. Sideline, yeah. Look, the Ramian Stone Street thing is an interesting one. Certainly believe that Ramian plays better with Katoa outside him. But again, Katoa's not going to be there for another 10 or so rounds, so he's got to get used to Stone Street. It's very much Jekyll and Hyde for Ramian for me. He does some really good stuff, and we certainly notice when he's not in the team, but gosh, there's some dumb things that come out of Ramian and pull my hair out all the time when it's Ramian's involved, and he's just lucky for that first try. Where we were playing the advantage and he dropped the ball out the back that the advantage was called, because I was getting a bit cranky at that one, and we're still early in the game.
And we're not asking him to force it to Stone Street, but there's opportunities there where Stoney's unmarked, their winger's jammed in, and he's got his arms free, or even before they jam in, he just goes, oh, I'll just take the tackle, which is a smart veteran. But we've seen Stone Street in the open, and even towards the back end where he made that break through the centre, that's the kind of speed he possesses. Like, he's pretty much like Franco's shirt right now. He's the road runner. Like, you give him a bit of ball and a bit of airspace, and he's gone. Like, it's not like it just. Yeah, it's like, I've got a crook neck, but at least, I can turn this side. So I think that's what Ramian just needs to learn, is to turn to his right, trust him, and give at least a little bit of a hint.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
Absolutely
sounds
agree.
like we're whinging right now because we won a game quite well. But, there's just these little things, these errors that keep popping up over the last month to 6 weeks that we keep seeing. And again, when they brought up the field goal, I thought we saw last night in a game with Penrith and the Cowboys, we ended up extra time and the points were shared, sort of like what they would say, a draw's like kissing your sister, but they had to try and take rushed attempts. But the Warriors did the smart thing the game before with your favourite player, Metcalf there, Franco, kicked the field goal with 10 minutes to go, which is what most teams get called for and should do. Instead of waiting until it gets the pressure cooker. But yeah, I thought Nico was set, but he was too close again. He was about 12 metres out, and the defence was already on top of him by that stage. So I think we need to come up with a play where we're sort of hiding a field goal more than, Latrell was a perfect example. It was way set and 42 metres out, but, we don't hide it well. We stand there looking like we're going to do the field goal play, so the defensive line knows where to rush. And it just worked in our advantage this week to score a try out of it. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something we're going to look into.
Yeah,
We've been saying that for 3 seasons.
It looked like we were set, but I'm not sure how much of it was an afterthought of, oh, look where we are, look at the time on the clock, let's go now. Because you're right, we're in the wrong position in the field to attempt it. All's well, it ends well. Thank you very much, Burns. But it was an interesting scenario, because I think we were calling for the field goal, and yes, they had the right mindset, but I don't think that was their first and foremost. So interesting scenario.
was the same play you said, Franco, with what 3 or 4 minutes to go, and they just gave it to AFB to try and settle the game and end it instead of looking for something positive, which turned into something positive, but only through such skill and the $1 million player of AFB thinking, you know what, I'm not finished with this. Let's turn around and actually offload and go from there. So yeah, I was like, we've always said we don't mind that play, but we've seen what happened against the Raiders. I'd rather try and go for something with a couple of minutes to go and see what happens when we've already got a nice lead.
Yep, for sure. Scott says, great win, fellas. And Williams 2.0 has dialed in, taken up the offer to dial in. The link is in the chat. Anyone else wants to dial in, more than welcome to join us and have a bit of a yarn. Click the link and you'll be in the green room ready to join when we can add you. But at the moment, here is 2.0. Welcome, 2.0. How are you, buddy?
Sensational, boys. How are we?
Very well, thank you. Happy Mother's Day, mate.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. It's been a great day, and the Sharks win to boot it off. So, how good?
Very good, very good. So, you said you were pretty chuffed after that one, mate. How was your emotions through that match?
Oh, where do I start? The first half was probably the best half we played all year. Defensively, got them on their backs, slowed them down, they made errors, we scored. And then I know there was a comment, Trindle stopped the rot. He also started the rot because Manly didn't look anything like anything they were going to score. Like they were never going to score against us. And then against the run of play, they go length of the field, got the crowd back into it, got the ref back into it. It was pretty average from Tricky today. His kicking was good, but he didn't do much else. And once he came back on, I thought Acko played all right. I think they had all the ball most of the time Acko was on the field. So it's kind of hard to blame it all on him because the tide had already turned. And we all saw over the weekend how many teams come back from ridiculous margins. But we got away with it. Can't complain really. It was a good win at Brookie. What's that? I don't know how many. 7 games on the road, 5 or 6 wins. Can't remember how many.
Yeah,
very good.
Sharp Park next week.
Can't wait. I feel like I need to defend Tricky a little bit there. Not so much in the dropped ball that but not so much in the dropped ball that led to Manly going 90 meters. But the you can't say he didn't do anything and was quiet when we keep talking about halves taking ownership and the other half stepping back to let them do that. So, if we're praising Nico for a good game and letting Trindle give him that opportunity, we can't then, in the reverse scenario, say, "Oh, Nico was quiet, but that's okay because Trindle ran the show," right? So, we're trying to defend Nico when he's having those quiet games. So I feel we've got to defend Trindle when he has a quiet game because that's the whole point of having 2 quality halves, right? There's someone there able to step up and run the show when they need to. I think Trindle had a fine game.
But how many people actually do defend Nico when it's on the other foot? How many people? I've been saying it all along. Like it's 2 halves make a compliment, but a lot of people want to bag Nico because he's not slotting the field goals. He's not doing the kicking. He's not doing this. But when it's Trindle, you have to defend him.
I won't lie, 2.0. That's the whole reason why I mentioned it because you were the one saying Trindle didn't have a good game, and you're the one that defends Hines when he's quiet.
Well, if the shoe fits, if everyone Nico been outstanding the last 2 weeks. Trindle before that, okay, but. Is the media or is our actual fan base going to say, okay, give it to Tricky now? No, they're not. They're just going to say, oh, Nico's finally living up to his price tag. You just can't win no matter which way you go. You can't say, oh, Trindle's had a bad game and then go, oh, Nico had a great game and then vice versa. This is the whole point I'm making. He didn't have a quiet game, Trindle. His kicking game was still by far and away the best we've got. Because I still think Nico's got to take it that next level, but we can't pick and choose when we decide, we're going to get on Nico's case, but we're not going to get on Trindle's case. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek comment.
Our halves are way better than the other 2 halves on the opposite side of the field who both get over $1 million a season. And Trindle was quiet. Totally agree. I don't think it was a bad game. He was just taking a back seat, like sort of Franco said. And he was. I didn't see any booming kicks or some great stuff that he's done the last couple of weeks. So I can see what, where Williams is saying he was pretty quiet, wasn't great, but God, he was better than the other number 6 on the other side of the field who made some horrible mistakes, gave away some terrible penalties, didn't offer much at all. And then DCE wasn't even there in defence. And even that the Superman try right towards the end, DCE was there and didn't even get a fingernail to Euro. So, it's I'm the same as you, Williams. Like Nico is my number 1 guy. I take it personally when everyone goes after him, but I'm glad today he stepped up even more again, which is, like you said, he's had a great couple of weeks, and now he's gone to another level again just this season and taken the front foot. So he probably took a lot of shine off Trindle, who again wasn't bad. It's probably like Atco wasn't bad, and he wasn't bad in his situation, but it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you look at, I mean, Nico's apparently under the pump and all this stuff from the media, but I've got the stats up next to me. He's second in try assists with 10, one behind Drinkwater, and he's leading the line break assists by 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know where all this crap's coming from that he's having a bad season, and I think we're starting to see. I mentioned it a few weeks ago and probably last year as well. When he won the Dally M, he was injury free.
Yeah.
He was injury free, and now he's had 2 years of injuries, and then this year he's built into it, and now you're starting to see that form again. And
it's funny, you say it on the media beat up, but I think they just expect, these guys to have 10 out of 10 games and lead the game, sort of like Latrell did the other night, dragged the South from nowhere against the Broncos, saved a massive try, kicked a field goal, scored a sneaky great try at the end of the game to fake out the Broncos. But, I think that's what their expectations are, and players just can't do that every single game. They don't need to. We've talked about this. It's a 17-man game. They don't need to be the out-and-out superstar. If you are, the rest of your team's struggling then. If you've got to drag them along the whole time, Pappenhausen went off today for 4 tries, but he wasn't the greatest player out there for him today. He was just finishing off movements out there. So, I thought Nico was probably, for me, like I said, I'm giving him the 3 points tonight, but I don't think he was a 10 out of 10, but he was the best player for us out on the field.
100%.
Yep. Speaking of Williams 2.0, what was your 3-2-1, buddy?
One, I'm going to give it to KO. I think he absolutely owned Garrick all night long. Fantastic. And especially with Ronnie next to him, giving Garrick an absolute mouthful every time he touched the ball. 2, I'm going to give it to an unsung hero at the moment, Billy Burns. I thought he was outstanding tonight. The way he's come in, he tackled, I think it was Garrick again, sucked in. He dropped the ball, and then to put the kick in for Ronnie at the end. Geez, do we really need Atco on the bench if Billy can play 5'8"? I'm not sure. And 3, back-to-back weeks for Nico. I think he was outstanding. Missed a couple of tackles, but at the end of the day, he also, I think, had 3 try assists again tonight. So 6 in 2 weeks. So yeah, the boys starting to find form, but a big fortnight the next fortnight. We've got Melbourne and the Roosters before our first bye. So let's see if we can do it against the big guns.
Absolutely, well done, Williams. Thank you very much, buddy.
You're putting the Roosters up there now as the big guns, putting them back up there.
Oh, mate, they're cruising at the moment, and they've got Walker coming back, so they're a dangerous team to be facing. So kind of like Penrith in a way, you wouldn't want to face them first week of the finals.
Well, Lats will be happy to hear that. He put him in the top 8.
I'll give Billy Burns a shout out. Like he's made me eat my words this week because he was really, really good. Like solid defense. I did love the standover of Garrick when he absolutely ragdolled him and gave up the ball, and we got a try out of it, which turned the game. I quite like, I don't know, Franco, were you Fox or 9 today?
I was Fox.
Okay, yeah. So Vossi was, giving raps to Ronnie, sort of talking the talk and walking the walk. So it's, I quite enjoyed it. But it's funny you bring up the stats. I had a look, and whether it's to do with a lot of the bombs, but Ronaldo was the top of the list for most mistakes in the NRL. So I don't know if it's for his tap back bombs or whatever, but he was pretty safe today coming out of our own end. It was whether they had those ones. And again, we had a successful captain's challenge. I'm so excited because I was screaming from
2 for 2.
Because I thought Turbo touched it and he did. And I was like, this is a great challenge. And there's a couple of other opportunities we could have challenged if we wanted to. The one where Nico wanted it, where it came off Burbo's hands when he was crabbing across field. And Trindle thought he got taken out in the last 5 minutes, but it was by our own player. But yeah, we would have won some more captain's challenge. So I'm so excited for that.
Yep. Well done. Thank you very much, 2.0. Love having you on as always, buddy. Take care.
Thank you, boys. Have a good night.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, on Burns. Look, towards the start of the match, actually earmarked to have a bit of a chat about him because I thought he was doing well. I thought he did really well last game. I'd almost say he's more than an adequate fill-in. He can play first grade, and it's one of those players that you kind of feel a bit sorry for because Wilton's going to come back from injury and Burns more than likely will drop down to New South Wales Cup.
Or does he grab the Atco spot?
Well, I mean, look, the Atco.
He can play centre and back row.
There's a lot of people that could grab the Atco spot. We've got Toby to come back as well.
Toa to come back, like you said.
Katoa, yeah. We've got
Kuru waiting in the wings. He's just waiting in the wings to get that
correct.
start. Surely there's a debut in there somewhere.
Has to be. So yeah, look, there's a lot of people that can take that Atco spot, but in a tragic world, Burns goes back to New South Wales Cup. He does a great job there. Everyone in Newtown loves Burns. But I feel like he's one of those players that if there was a team that needed a cog of their system, Burns would fill that adequately. Kind of like Sorensen at the Sharks, right? I remember a bunch of people calling him a bit of a plotter, even though I thought he was pretty strong, always left it all out there on the field. And when he joined Penrith, he was that cog that just filled a spot that needed to be filled, didn't let the team down. And look, he's got 4 premierships to his name now. So, in a not that I want to lose Burns. I don't want to talk him up to a contract somewhere else. But when you've got sort of teams like PNG and Western Reds needing to fill spots, not everyone can be a superstar on big money. You need those cheaper players, and Burns would go all right 80 minutes in any team, I reckon.
Well, I won't compare him to your mate Bo Scott, but he's very much, Dragons fans. He was very maligned coming out of St George Illawarra coming to us, and he's played a lot of New South Wales Cup, like you said, because of those reasons. He just wasn't right there, but the improvement the last couple of weeks is massive. Like I said, I'll give him his props this week. I'll give him his flowers because he was great. His grubber for that try was great, whereas the play or a couple of plays before where we made that nice break and it was only 4 tackle and Nico went for it. I thought that was a little bit greedy to go for it. You should have probably gone over the top or gone through the hands. But Billy Burns showed there was a bit of a chink in the armour there and found a nice grubber for Ronnie to score and put the big shush up. So, but in saying that, Ronnie, there's still 6 minutes to go. I was confident. I was ready to set up for the stream. Was putting the jerseys up. I didn't want to come in here kicking stones. But I'm like, what we've seen over the NRL in the last weekend is just insane. So maybe a little bit early until we can sort of wind the clock down. But yeah, Manly they were way off the pace. And they probably have been for the last month as well. But they were, coming off a bye, playing at home. I wouldn't say he was a Ferrari this week. The Brookvale Ferrari, he looked like he was missing a couple of pistons. Maybe it needs a tyre change out there. But you think come off the bye is a bit better. Saab was nowhere to be seen except for that miraculous try. So I think their only standout was Kohler and maybe Nathan Brown doing one hit up off the back fence, and that was about it, which we covered anyway. So a bizarre Manly turnout.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen just to put a button on Burns, we've seen how Newtown are faring without him. Not that Newtown's a one-man team, but he's certainly the heart and soul of that team. I'll say a little bit. Now, yeah, Manly were definitely not what I expected to show up. We spoke about it on the preview episode. We were expecting a different team from the team we played in Perth. They were down on troops then. They weren't performing well. This time around, they beat Penrith. They had a week off, so they're rested. Troops back. Really expected this to be a showing from Manly. And that wasn't there. They were poor disciplined, error riddled, lacking energy. That's not the kind of effort that I was expecting to see. And on your point, Trbojevic out the back there, he was handled real well by our boys. So, you can only play what's in front of you. But there wasn't much there. And I don't know if I'm robbing the Sharks, a credit here because Manly were so poor, but was there an element, can we throw up, we didn't let them play well because we came in pretty high intensity this match, I felt.
Yeah, I think we came in high intensity and they just didn't match it at all. There was no energy out there. Like, if that was our team, the way Manly played, you'd be so disappointed because they did not throw anything. And that's the ones that I don't enjoy as a fan of, when your team shows no energy, no urgency, and they're not even trying things or trying to switch up the game plan. They just come out and go through the motions. I don't mind, well, I hate losing, but I don't mind losing, in a good contest. But when you're showing poor energy and you're just not trying and you get them steamrolled by the other team, because we were steamrolled. Like I said, that first set we had off the kickoff in the second half, we made 70 metres. Like, what team does that without a massive line break? And they weren't line breaks. They were just hit-ups. We were just going through our standard set. We made 70 metres off the first set, the start of second half. We were up 14-0. Like, it was just, and they're at Brookvale. It's just weird. So, yeah, we were the team that was up and ready, and we went through. We're probably not taking the shine off us because we had that little flat spot. If we had that flat spot next week, it could be trouble because, of course, we're playing the Storm. But, in this competition, you can't switch off. We've seen it this like I said, this weekend's been quite weird with Canberra up 20-0 and copping 32 unanswered points. It was Brisbane in control at 14-0 and losing from behind. Like, it was just, you can't just let up teams come back into these games. So disappointed, I'm sure, like all the fans were, where Manly came back because we were the better team and just had a 10-minute lapse where we let them into it. But we kicked on and showed the class we were just a little bit better.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. I thought it was well done by us. So I don't want us to rob the Sharkies of their performance by Manly's terrible showing. I've got to highlight this comment here from SJD. It might be the comment of the episode. He says, yep, that third try principle proves to be a flop again. For non-regular listeners, the third try principle is one that our friend Boldo has come up with.
The creator.
Yeah. I bit my tongue on that one. I didn't want to say it, but yeah, sure, let's go with creator. His belief is that the third try is the one that's going to win. The team that scores the third try is the team that's going to win the game. And in this scenario, it proved to be a failure, a bit of a flop, as SJD said. Mike Knight says Bumblebee Tuna. His regular welcome hello comment. Scott Wood says crazy weekend of football. And Ashley says Pack Shark Park Saturday. Absolutely. He also said a bit earlier, we are so back. It's a big call, Ashley. I think, I'll take the wins, and we're pretty dominant. That said, our attack in the opposition 20 still looked a little bit clunky for mine. I think there was a lot of lateral movement, players that weren't quite in the right positions. I think we're close though. I think we're really close. So yeah, let's give it a couple more weeks. But yeah, I think we should be pretty happy with what we're seeing from the Sharkies.
I think you're right there. I kind of early crowed and cheered as I thought Stone Street, once he stepped back inside, we were going to go over and score, and sort of got held up. I know he got a bit of a palm to the face, but he should have dived over and scored. Then there was a couple of other opportunities we probably should have scored. Like I said, it was a Nico one where he put that kick through, which was probably a bit of a poor choice he could have again. I don't know where they'll pull in a Nico forward pass from when he's facing backwards and pass it across field, and his hands are clearly going backwards, but he just throws those big looping passes and they just call him forward automatically. But yeah, I thought, like I said, we copped an unlucky try from the length of the field, and probably in that situation, if Trindle doesn't dive on it or catches it cleanly and puts it across, we're probably scoring there. So yeah, I think we're back. The problem is where we've lacked earlier in the season against the Tigers and Raiders, where we let those two games slip out of our hands, is it's put us fifth on the ladder, and it's not on great amount of points, not for and against, but competition points, where we probably should be sitting top four, really. Like, we really should be where we expected. But like I've said before, we're going to have a tough start to the season, going eventually into a bye, and then back end a lot of Shark Park games. So hopefully we kick on from there.
Yep, absolutely. Well said, mate. Scott Wood says Galvin and DCE want to move on, and there's outrage. Since when Roosters want to move Young and Cheese on? Yeah, I mean, we
seen
all
this
know
plenty
that.
of times.
Yeah, Roosters have friends in high places, I suppose. All right, CK, you've got it in your tagline, more silverware. This was the Steve Rogers Cup. We get it 2 years, two times in a year, so that's really good. Unfortunately, the Sea Eagles name is on that trophy a fair few times, but we're starting to claw it back a little bit, which is great to see. I don't think the Steve Rogers Cup was the reason for all the emotion in this match. It was pretty heated. There was a lot of little flare-ups and a lot of emotion in the game. I really enjoyed it. And I'm wondering if this was one of those scenarios. I don't know if you've seen anything in the press where, maybe Fitzy got in an ex-player or someone to talk about Manly and the grand finals and the history between the two. But there was a lot of emotion here. I really enjoyed seeing it, and I really liked watching the boys get up in their face. I know you mentioned Ronnie earlier and Burns, but there was a few more elements of this. And you know what? Manly were giving it back to us as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you on it how you felt about it. We obviously said you liked it. Yeah, as long as, like Vossi said, as long as we back it, I'm fine with it. I quite enjoy it. We know Ronnie likes to get into it and get amongst it and sort of yell. And you saw towards the end, it was a hug and kiss with Saab. So he's kind of like one of those players where he'll cop it as well. If he's on the other end of it, he's happy to take it and have a push and shove, and they'll all shake hands afterwards. But yeah, I like the energy. I thought Burns went on a little too long, but it was great as well. Maybe there was a few words said from Garrick out there and a couple of other items, but I liked it. Our energy was high. Again, it was one of those things where Manly were low on energy, not much was going on for them, and our energy was really high. So I'm kind of pumped that we stayed like that.
Yeah, I think there's two key elements here. One, you don't tilt, keep your head in the game. And two, off the back of that, don't throw away silly penalties, especially while you've got the ball. As long as you don't do those two things, go at it.
Saw what happened to Melbourne the week before when they got into it and got involved in the head games and, threw away their field goal, threw away their winning chance as well. And, Canberra went down the other end and won. But like I said before, it was great to see Nico really baited Burbo into that one. Was like, mate, you're giving me an extra serve for nothing on the ground. Burbo gave him another one. Nico sort of baited him and he went forward and took it. And we took the 2 points. It was great. So I'm all for those ones.
Absolutely. There's ways to do it, and there's ways that upset fans. But tonight, I was not upset with any of it. I thought it was really good. Don't know how much of that is due to the fact that we're winning the match, but you know what? That's where I'm going. So BHU, he had a little intercept. Couldn't go 50 meters.
It was great.
it was excellent. But BHU in general, he had a pretty good game. That's 2 weeks in a row, I think. Not standout, but certainly performing better than he was before his injury, which is an improvement and showing that he's ready to make an impact and ready to show that he's part of the team again. What do you think of BHU and how he handled himself?
Yeah, like I said during the preview show, there was a comment during the week about his fitness levels, but I thought the intercept, he was right on the money. He was right there. He could have, in previous days, maybe not jumped on that ball fast enough. And he went a good 30 or 40 metres and he was looking to offload, but he was also trudging and looking for the offload. He wasn't one of those other players that make a break and stop and go about, 2 kilometres and look around for an offload. He was actually motoring and looking for an offload at the same time and was smart enough to come back towards inside the field and not give it away. So he's obviously getting fitter and fitter, and hopefully the knee's not niggling at him. But yeah, it's good to see him back and firing. And yeah, we want to just have him on the back end of the season, really, is what we want to do. We're sort of nursing. If we lost Tommy for a little bit now, that might hurt. But I think our forward stocks, I'm not sure how long Teague's got. I'm pretty sure it was about a 4 to 6 week layoff that he had as well. So, I'm
thinking 2 more weeks for Teague.
Yeah, so maybe the Peru debut's coming closer.
Maybe, and I don't think he'll let us down either. Peru will do well.
No way.
Speaking of,
again,
you talked...
go.
I was just going to say, you talked about Braden looking for an offload. I think our support play could tighten up a little bit. And I think you saw Nico run through, turn around, look for someone to offload. That would have been another try. But ultimately, we got a lot of guys that are looking to pop the ball. Thankfully, not silly offloads, but turning around and looking for someone there. And it's either no one there or it's Brayley standing there flat-footed, and and not really being able to take advantage of it. So I would like to see our guys with a little bit more heads up awareness of who's carrying the ball, what their skill set is. Is this the guy that kind of offloads the ball? Because I can guarantee the opposition has a tip sheet where they're like, okay, this guy's going to offload the ball. Make sure you wrap up the ball. We should clearly be aware of, oh, well, you know, here's AFB or here's who am I thinking of? Sorry, Kafusi. He, you know, they're gonna look for that, get that arm free and pop it up. We should have someone maybe trailing through, or at least some sort of half a play set up ready for the back of that with a scattered defence in front of us. It's just a shame we don't really look to take advantage of that a bit more than we do.
I think that's my slide on Atkinson for everyone out there, is that 10 or 15 minute period. He's coming on healthy and quick and supposed to provide that spark. And I think that's where he should be hunting around. For him to be, you know, such an impact is where it should be, is him sniffing around the ruck and looking for the other ones. I thought, like I said, I thought Brayley's break was great. I thought, again, he was so good out of dummy half. He was picking up when markers were off. There were a couple of one-hand pickups you would have loved, Franco. And then
Absolutely.
Stone Street hunted around through the middle and went and backed him up. So I thought we were great there again. It's just, yeah, it's like you said, there's a few offloads we could be. But in saying that, defensively, 10 times better than last week in wrapping up offloads and denying any offloads. Not that Manly were looking to do some, but we looked 10 times better than what we did last week, where I think we got something like 40 offloads, whereas this week it would have been barely any. So I'll give us props for those ones. And yeah, a slight improvement in offloads and backing up, but yeah, it's something we've been screaming for ages.
Absolutely. Jesse's back for his second week in a row after a long stint on the sideline. Over 100 running meters this week and over 20 tackles. Pretty good showing from him. Certainly someone who I think is one of those guys that always fights for a scrap and has certainly got full of energy. As his ticker sort of builds and he gets that match fitness back, I think we'll see a lot more from him over the coming weeks. What do you reckon?
Yeah, fan favourite of mine. I love Jesse. I was very happy he's back, and I thought he was just as good as Billy Burns out there, just not playing as many minutes. So love seeing him out there. His energy was good. He was amongst the push and shoves as well. His defensive side was really good. So I'm so glad that he's back. So again, another week, and like you said, he'll just build on that fitness and get fitter as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then we've got to talk about it because the press talks about it, and I'd stop at the moment. Will Kennedy, top of the Dally M charts. Is he getting any points this week? He was a bit quiet. They managed to wrap him up a bit. He was still solid, but didn't make any headline plays. Was pretty shut down in the backline movements. What was your take on Kennedy, mate?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna get any points out of this week, which might be a bit of a shame. I don't know if Terrell May behind him is going to get any points. Tedesco was on a bye. Who else was behind there? Payne Haas, probably not as well. Jai Gray was coming off the bench and played an Atco role, so he might be a bit safe for another week. But yeah, it wasn't Kennedy's standard game. I thought Manly's, when they did bomb DCE, put up those big sort of towering kicks, they actually attacked them quite well. So he didn't actually get any movements. But when, again, the last 20 DCE started going low kicks, and I was like, well, go for it, because Kennedy will just eat them up and run 20 metres. So his stats might say he's a little bit better. He was, I know Nico tried to get him involved in a couple of those backline movements that he had last week against Para, which didn't come off. But yeah, it wasn't a wheel game, but again, it wasn't bad. There was only one mistake where we thought it was probably going to be a disruptor, or if they did want a challenge. I know that, the one where we got called offside a couple of plays later and Turbo sort of took him out. And thankfully the challenge worked the next time, because it definitely was. So yeah, not a standout, but still solid.
Yeah, no stoppage in,
guys.
Yeah, no stoppage in play there, which is why we couldn't challenge that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I'd say it was typical Will in the fact that he was safe as houses. Certainly put in the effort, over 100 meters. He was everywhere. It just didn't have those headline plays that people have become accustomed to over the last month and a bit. So he might get a sneaky point or two because of the Dally M voters maybe doing the casual, who do I normally give points to, or who's in the give them a point.
Points, I call them. Unicorn points.
Yeah, so he might get a couple of them. But overall, yeah, I thought he was kept quiet, but still had a pretty good game. All right, here we go. Lukey Metcalf should be up there, says Dwayne. Now he is up there. Last I checked, he's in the leaderboard. He's just not right up there, and that's probably due to the fact that he had a bit of a quiet start. I think you'll agree. But the last couple of rounds, he's been on fire, and yeah, Lukey will keep climbing the charts. I reckon.
Don't stab Franco in the heart like that. Don't start him on it.
Should never let him go.
He would have got the 6 points last night against the Dragons for sure, because scored a first try, gambled responsibly, people, and kicked a nice field goal as well. So he was involved in everything again and had a whale of a game. So, yeah, I'm loving. I'll love watching him from afar. Put it that way.
Yep, certainly shed
the best.
Certainly shed a tear when he left us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just hope he does has a great career. Maybe not when he's playing against us. Pardon me. Scott says, fun fact, fellas, my cousin Carly Nelson was Cronulla Beach Girl of the Year in the mid-90s. All right, Scotty, that is a fun fact.
We might put it in the socials next week. We might do as a deep dive, and we'll have a bit of a Google check.
Not only is that a fun fact, Scotty, that is a random fact, I would say.
But I like it.
Yeah, well done. Very good. I hope she got you some doors opened in terms of red carpet events or whatnot by association. Awesome. Well, yeah, I would say that this has been a good win from us. Absolutely happy to take the biscuits away from Manly, especially in rookie. Their crowd was pretty vocal. I was a bit worried that they were going to get a few crowd calls, especially when after the first half, the lopsided penalty count. But in the end, nothing really much to worry about. We pretty much kept them out of the game, which I like to see. So was really good showing in the end. And as I think Ashley said a little bit earlier, let's pack out Shark Park and get some of that emotion and get some of that volume going for the Sharks faithful, because what's it been, 6 weeks on the road? We should be a bit thirsty for a bit of local entertainment. Hopefully the Sharks turn up and give us what we want to see. Scott's continuing. He says, another fun fact, fellas. My other cousin, Matthew Ward, used to run the juice stall on the boulevard or the Esplanade. Well, the juice stall's no longer there, is it? I get that. That's
You're throwing it back here.
that one's less fun, I think, and more random probably. But all right, Scotty, have you got a trifecta for us? Have you got a third one before we get CK's full 3-2-1s here, buddy? What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna back the previous comment in regards to my 3-2-1. So, like I said, I'm gonna have Nico up there. I thought he was outstanding. I thought in the first 40 minutes he was the difference. He was running. He set up AFB. He set up the first try. We didn't really touch on that one. I'm still not certain watching the replay whether there was a call from Ronnie or Nico was kicking for himself. But Ronnie come from absolutely nowhere and picked it up and come from in and off his wing, which he normally does defensively, but this time he didn't attack. So it was great. It was a great start, and especially for me, Gamble Responsibly Kids, it was a great start to the game. So giving my 3 points to Nico there. 2, I'm going to go to, I think I'm actually going to give my 2 to Brayley. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Again, like I said to Franco, he's doing those one-hand pickups that Franco loves. He's looking to run. We've been calling it for the last couple of seasons. When he runs, he gets us on the front foot. I thought he got our forwards on the front foot as well, and again was as a defensive machine. My 1 was so close to going to Captain Cam. I found a nice horse down today in Hobart that got me a winner. His name's Captain Cam as well, and I thought it was an omen. It was about 20 minutes before kickoff, so that worked out well. And then he was very, very close to my 1, but I'm going to have to give it to Billy Burns. He was too good. Billy Burns was great. I thought he was good defensively. We talked about his try assist by Pseudo as well. He got him, we'll just say they were try assists. I thought his tackle, again, he was in the vicinity maybe to score. I thought the kick was for him as well. Cleaned up Garrick. turn him over and, turn into a try. And then his other 2 try assists were great. So 1 for him as well.
Nice work. Glenn says this should be a new segment called Fun Facts.
Happy to.
Looks like Scott doesn't have any more for us, though, because he says, have a great week, fellas.
No. You need one more on Tuesday, Scott. Come back and give us one on Tuesday.
Yeah. Sess comes and says, Ronnie came in off his wing to be behind the play. He had to have called it. Like I said in the run through, he loves calling for a kick. He probably called for the kick from Burns as well. So, that's just something Ronnie loves to do, and something we miss from having Talakai out there in the centres, because we know he quite often puts it to boot for Ronnie to regather. Julie says, great win, Sharkies. It certainly was. My 3-2-1s.
I had lunch with Julie today, and she was a bit nervous, and I said, well, join us on the debrief and jump in. So good to see she jumped back on. Welcome,
Julie. Well done. Yes, it was a great win by the Sharkies. My 3-2-1. I'm giving my 1 point to Brayley. You are right. He was immense today. He was on the front foot. We kept getting over the advantage line, which certainly helped him. But he took advantage of that, no pun intended, and made some good meters, caught some people off. It was really good from Brails. My 2 points, I'm going to swap you around, CK. I'm giving my 2 points to Burns. Not often he gets to be in the points tally. He had a great game. He was in everything. Yes, he had a dropped ball there doing the Nicker run, or in that scenario, Wilton does do it from time to time. But ultimately, he got up, chased it back down, defended his mistake. I thought he had a really strong, solid game. So Burns gets my 2. And I think I'm in agreement with everyone else here that Hines gets the 3 points. He showed his intent pretty much from the first set, running hard and running often. So it was really good to see him get that running game back. And I think we've sort of said a few times in the past that when he's running the game, that's when his confidence is high. And yes, sure, we laid the platform to allow him to do so. But like I said, because he was doing that from basically the first set, he had that mindset to run, and it paid dividends. It was really good to see. So there's my 3-2-1s. Not a high shock. Get your 3-2-1s in the comments below, or the chat on the side. Scoring a 10 out of 10, CK, the game out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd like to give it a high score because I thought we were quite well. But given that Manly didn't really throw up a fight for us, I'll give it a 7 to a 7.5. I just thought we were the better team, and it wasn't what we'd seen over the weekend in terms of entertainment-wise. They didn't show us anything. There was one highlight try, which is against the run of the play for them. But, yeah, I thought we were just a better team and came out victors. I was going to be really annoyed if we let that one slip again, but we just turned it back on again and won the game. So I'm going to give it a 7 because compared to, like I said, there was other games where there was comeback galore, teams going back and forth, scoring a lot. The Manly just didn't do anything. We took the crowd right out of the game. It was, you mentioned it before, their members have always been a bit loud on that Canberra side. They know it. You've got that booming old fella that still yells out Manly. But other than that, we quiet them down the whole time. They just weren't in the game except for that flat period. So, yeah, 7 for me.
I also give it a 7, which I think is my highest score so far since we started giving out of 10s. It was an entertaining game. You're right. I don't think Manly threw much at us. But hey, it ebbed and flowed. It got close. And then we had that flurry at the end, which just showed a bit of dominance, which was really enjoyable to see. A bit of emotion on the players' faces, which was also good. So yeah, I'm giving that a 7. It wasn't a clinic, but absolutely enjoyable to watch. So I was happy to see that one. Scott Wood says, Max King has scored more tries in 18 months than Kalen Ponga. He then says that's his 3rd fun fact. I don't know if that can count as a fun fact, Scotty, but we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. CK likes it. There you go.
It's funny, Scotty. I was just going through, through my head as we're going through some things about in regards to Nico and highest paid players and previous players that won daily M's, and you think of Tom Malolo, who's fallen off an absolute cliff on his $1 million per year 10-year contract and has had a daily M. Ponga again, the pressure was on the Titans on the weekend apparently a bit with Des, and they come from behind where the Knights were up 20-0 and didn't score a point after 30 minutes, and that was part of Kalen Ponga as well. And then now the Knights are back on the blowtorch. So there's a lot of players, people forget about Brooks over at Manly. He's on a big packet load, and really since week 1, since he was there, has done nothing as well. So there's a lot of players that should be under pressure more than Nico. So totally agree with you. Max King down in Melbourne loves a meat pie, but he's killing my bingo every week. The price goes down. It used to be such a good bet to put on $5 or $6. Gamble responsibly for 1 to 13 to score across the round, and now it's about $3 because blokes like Max King are scoring every single week. So come on, props, settle down. And Fanua Blake did it as well. So the props are killing us.
Yeah, brilliant. Glenn says that's the key. Keep the crowd out of it at Brookie, and you have a good chance. Yeah, it was certainly a good way of quietening the crowd, and hopefully there was a camera.
Tomo, since I think I spoke on Tuesday's preview, I haven't been there since 2009 when Luke Douglas got sent off. I vowed never to return after the 08 drama and then the 2009 drama game. I haven't been back to that horrible place, so I kind of wish I was there today, but yeah, I can't get back there.
Yeah, hopefully there was a camera in the right angle to get a good shot and a promo shot of Ronaldo shushing the crowd and waving goodbye to them, because that'd make a great promo reel. Hopefully someone somewhere has got a good shot of that. Glenn then backs me up. He says, "You've banished Brookie. Well done, CK. Well done." Yeah. Scotty Wood says, "Cheers, fellas." Thank you, Scotty. And then unless there's anything else you want to say, CK, we might start to wrap this one up, mate.
No, like I said, it's kind of hard for us to talk so deep into a game where we won and quite enjoyed it and we were in cruise control. I kind of wish we just win a game by 30 by halftime and kick on from there, and we can all kind of relax. But again, we'll go into it, I'm sure. But the 6 again rule was just a killer. I thought the Euro intercept, you're taking your advantage. That's the end of it. We're not offside after that, but it's something they might tweak in the off season, so we'll see. But other than that, enjoyable Sunday, enjoyable Mother's Day win.
Absolutely, that Euro regather, I thought he put his body on the line, went there, got that. They tried. But yeah, I see the 6 again. Fine, I suppose. If it was against us the other way around, yeah, I might have.
How many times do you see a referee call 6 again and the player drops the ball and then they just go, oh, well, it's a drop? Well, where's the advantage in it? Like, there's no, it's just, it's bizarre now. It's time to go back to penalties.
Well, as you said, maybe tweak the rule a little bit. The 6 again is not the same as another infringement where it's deemed to be a penalty. So yeah, if you maybe your advantage or the need to take an advantage is also quashed in the 6 again. That said, we got one back. Was that the advantage for Ramian when he dropped the ball out the back? And they said take it back. So swings and roundabouts. We got one. We lost one.
It was a double knock on though, so it was a little bit different.
Double knock on.
I thought Turbo dropped it first, and then Ramian put it out the back. Oh no, it wasn't. No, you're right. It was a penalty. Apologies.
Yeah. All good. All good. I like to be right sometimes, so I'll take that one. Everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. We do appreciate it. If you missed us live, comments are below. Whatever streaming platform or audio platform you've got, I'm sure there's some way of giving us comments or giving us likes. We really do appreciate it, as I said. If you want to see how the discussions go throughout the games, jump on our Discord, be part of the discussion through the week with all the fallout and for future games. It's pretty fun. We are building up a bit of a crowd there. Whenever any news breaks, someone is always pretty quick to pop it in there as well to see opinions. So that's not bad and a bit of fun. We are going to be back on Tuesday night for our live show where we get some final thoughts on this match. We preview the next one and cover any hot button topics that pop up in between. Finally, happy Mother's Day once again all. Thank you very much for hanging with us on this debrief, and we'll see you all in a couple of days' time.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.